Just north of the Hollywood Hills and south of the San Gabriel Mountains sits the San Fernando Valley of California, home to Circus Liquors made famous by Clueless, multiple movie studios, scenic views, and one of the biggest car heists in recent memory? The California Highway Patrol Southern Division Special Services Vehicle Theft Unit, it's a mouthful, aka the CHP Southern Division SSC, still kind of long, issued a warrant for an arrest following a 2-month-long investigation. What they found was truly shocking. 35 stolen cars in someone's backyard in Van Nuys. So how did one guy allegedly steal all these cars? And why? Today on Wheelhouse, we're getting to the bottom of this baffling auto theft case. Thanks to the Ridge Wallet for sponsoring today's video. This is your dad's bulky, leather-bound mess of a wallet. And this is the Ridge Wallet. Unlike this uncomfortable folding nightmare, the Ridge Wallet is light and industrial, designed to fit comfortably in your front pocket. But don't let its sleekness fool you. This beauty can hold up to 12 cards with plenty of room for cash. Plus, its durable exterior is made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. No wonder the Ridge Wallet has 40,000 5-star reviews. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/donutmedia and using code donutmedia, or just click the link below. Now, back to the show. Gotta find that wallet. It was nearly 80 degrees in the valley on Thursday, March 24th. It was a perfect day for basking in the sun and relaxing with a refreshing beverage. It was also the day law enforcement arrested 39-year-old Vagey Chavushian for suspicion of possessing a firearm. He might have gone down for a gun, but what he suspected of is far more expensive. This North Hollywood native was also in possession of an indoor operation of more than 400 marijuana plants. And as I mentioned earlier, the reason we're all here, he had 35 stolen cars all parked in his backyard. Check out the aerial view of this crime scene. These cars were parked pretty well, not a lot of space to waste. So what kind of rides were stolen? Well, these weren't your average Uber cars, alright? These are the kind of rides pulling up when you splurge on that Uber X after a long night of partying at the Victorian. The backyard haul is quite the assortment of pricey whips. You got classic beauties such as the Bentley Continental GT, an Aston Martin Vantage, and a C8 Chevy Corvette Stingray. A full detailed list of all the contraband has not been released yet, but the photos on the CHP's Facebook page introduce us to a few of the cars at the party. There's also a BMW X6M, a few Mercedes SUVs, and various other German coupes and sedans. Vagey had champagne taste. According to an on-call desk officer at the Van Nuys Police Department, most of these other thieves are balling on a beer budget. The majority of other cars stolen in the same area as Vagey's 35-car bust are Hondas, Hyundais, and older Toyota models. A few news reports on this story state that some of the vehicles from the backyard were involved in other crimes in the area. It's crazy to think that this guy has nearly $2.3 million worth of stolen cars on his property and thinks it's a good idea to go out and commit more crimes while driving said stolen automobiles. It's actually pretty suspicious. It's almost too easy. Something else has to be going on, right? Another fact that is super weird to me about this case is that Vagey was not even charged with car theft at the time, but with possession of a firearm. The officer we spoke with defeatedly confided in us that theft, even at this level, is considered a minor crime. He was surprised that the media was even covering it. I mean, think about it, that makes sense. Like, if one car gets stolen, that's not really a news story, so it's gotta be a lot of cars to get stolen for it to be noteworthy. So, how and why does a person get away with a crime like this for so long? According to the photos and police reports from the day of the bust, a lot of the cars had been there a long time, with grass grown up around them. Some cars even had signs of wear and tear. And I know what you're thinking. Why would someone steal that many cars and then just leave them to essentially rot in the backyard of all places? Great question. But the clear answer here, according to my new buddy working a desk shift at the Van Nuys PD, is that this isn't a straight-cut case of theft. This is a major fraud case. Stealing this many cars the old-fashioned way would actually be pretty hard to pull off. Imagine the luck and logistics necessary to pilfer this many high-profile rides by yourself without getting caught. It's just not feasible. Law enforcement believes that an operation on this level can only be carried out via fraudulent purchases, and a lot of them. Let's examine how something like this even gets carried out. By more stealing, of course. Now, this is a little bit of speculation, but stay with me. I was told organized theft of this volume requires the thief or thieves involved to undertake multiple stolen identities and commit fraud on multiple credit card accounts. Basically, the suspect most likely got his hands on someone's credit card information that was not his. Then he also steals their identity or knows someone who makes very convincing fake documents. Hell, he seems to be quite the entrepreneur. He might be making fake IDs himself. If he was stealing the IDs, this person's gotta sort of look like him too. Look, we were all underage once. You know the deal. Not me though, I wasn't cool in high school. Then he sets up a high-caliber car rental situation through a dealership. He springs for the luxury car and then goes to lease or buy this car under his new stolen name, and then he never brings it back. Or he goes to a dealership and test drives a car under a different fake identity, and then never comes back. In either of these cases, he takes the stolen vehicle back to his backyard luxury car parking lot and parks it. Then he can't be tracked because the person who stole the car wasn't even him. Then he does that over and over again, at least 35 times that we know of. As you might imagine, crimes like these are pretty uncommon. It's a more sophisticated crime. According to the officer we talked to, most car thefts are one-offs. And according to an article released by Crosstown in January of 2022, in 2021, there were a total of 24,224 vehicle thefts in Los Angeles. This is the most thefts in a single year since 2010, a 13.7% increase since 2020, and a shocking 54.1% rise of the number of vehicles reported stolen in 2019. This report also cites Van Nuys as one of the hotspots for auto theft, so I guess park in Northridge and then Uber over. According to the one officer we could get on the phone, usually someone steals a car they see on the street. They decide they need it for monetary purposes like parts, or maybe they just want to take it for a joyride. They can do this by punching out the ignition or using a shaved key. Typically, car thieves will drive the car around for a day or two and then cold plate it. Cold plating means using stolen plates of the same make and model as the stolen vehicle. Cold plates shield the car from automated plate readers on police cars and other government vehicles that can alert an officer that a vehicle has been reported stolen. A lot of times after this, the thieves will park the stolen car in a nearby alley or street. And shockingly, a lot of people that have had their car stolen say that they find it like a mile away. And as I previously mentioned, stealing a car and selling the parts is also a popular tactic for many thieves. The Van Nuys officers said that new cars are actually even easier to steal because of their keyless entry systems. A lot of people just leave their keys in their cars. And Vage might have used this tactic a few times, but rather than abandoning his loot nearby, he took it back to his backyard empire. The officer said he's never seen this kind of mass theft in his 20 years on the job. He truly believes that the suspect didn't act alone in this case. Maybe it's more of a mass crime operation with possibly a few people involved. Remember earlier I mentioned that some of the cars were involved in other crimes? There's gotta be something there. He somehow also found time to tend 400 pot plants, which seems like tedious work to do on the side by yourself. I can barely keep my bamboo plant alive. I keep thinking about this part in Catch Me If You Can, a movie that came out in like 2002, Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. Leo plays a con artist that travels around the world and makes his way of life relying on his skills to perform flawless frauds. I like to picture the day the CHP rolled up on Vage and had a similar tone. Except the CHP was definitely chasing Vage. But for now, according to an article in the LA Times, he's arrested on suspicion of being a felon in possession of a firearm, and California law dictates that that's a maximum sentence of 3 years in county jail, or he could get fined up to $10,000, or he could get both a jail sentence and a fine. If he's also convicted of stealing all 35 cars and being charged with fraud, he could face a 2 to 5 year jail sentence with a fine of up to $50,000 and possibly probation, allegedly. So what now? Well, things are still mostly up in the air. This is an ongoing investigation, and clearly large parts of the why and the how of this happened are TBD. The Van Nuys officer offered up a few key pieces of advice for keeping your precious ride safe from the hands of thieves. Be less of a target. Don't have a damaged ignition switch. Make sure your ignition switch is in good shape. Get a club for the steering wheel, especially if you have a Honda. And for God's sakes, don't leave your keys or the key fob in the car. This seems very obvious, but it's one of the leading ways thieves are able to steal cars so easily. We also have an entire episode of Wheelhouse all about preventing theft, and I'll link that down below if you want to know more. This is still an ongoing investigation, so there are still lots of unanswered questions. I mean, I have tons. Maybe the backyard was some sort of stable where a crime ring parked their cars, or maybe this guy just really liked cars and made some dumb decisions to get them. That's it for Wheelhouse this week. Like we said, this case is still ongoing. A lot of details haven't been released yet. Freaking wild. Van Nuys, who would have thought, huh? Be kind. Don't leave your keys in the car. I'll see you next time.